Welcome to Brookings First United Methodist Church and our podcast, Messages from First United Methodist Brookings. This podcast is an audio version of Pastor Pete Grassow's sermons from the First United Methodist Church in Brookings, South Dakota. You can watch the full services online anytime on our website at brookingsmethodist.org or at the link in the episode notes. On behalf of Pastor Pete and our entire church family, thank you for joining us.
I have two passages that I'm going to read to us today, both from the Gospel of John. I read first of all from John chapter 1, and I'm just reading verse 14. The Word became flesh and made his home among us. We have seen his glory, glory like that of a Father's only Son, full of grace and truth. And then skip forward some chapters to John chapter 18, and we pick up at verse 33. Pilate summoned Jesus and asked, "Are you the King of the Jews?" Jesus answered, "Do you say this on your own, or have others spoken to you about me?" Pilate responded, "I'm not a Jew, am I? Your nation and its chief priests handed you over to me. What have you done?" Jesus replied, "My kingdom doesn't originate from this world. If it did, my guards would fight so that I wouldn't have been arrested by the Jewish leaders. My kingdom isn't from here." "So you are a king," Pilate said, and Jesus answered, "You say I'm a king. I was born and came into the world for this reason, to testify to the truth. Whoever accepts the truth listens to my voice." "What is truth?" Pilate asked. Just so far. This famous question asked by Pilate, what is truth? Pilate was a career diplomat. He served as governor of Judea for 10 years, between 26 to 36 AD. This was a particularly difficult period because Judea was a hotbed of plot and counterplot. Pilate had to contend with the Zealots, dedicated to the overthrow of the Roman government, and the Herodians, who were politically connected Jews who could make his life difficult in Rome. Then he had the Sadducees and the Pharisees, who each tried to rule the temple and influence King Herod. He heard of rebel leaders like Judah the Galilean, Simon of Perea the Egyptian Jew, and Theudas. And all of them had one thing in common. They claimed to be God's anointed leader. And now Pilate is confronted with Jesus, another King of the Jews. So is it any wonder that this simple soldier shakes his head and asks, what is the real truth? Which is not really unfamiliar to us. Right now, we are living with the leadership debate about who will make the best president for this country. And we watch adverts on TV, and we follow social media, and we listen to politicians speak and end up wondering where the real truth lies. In fact, we live in a time of great debate about truth in general. We have just come through the vaccination debate. Some say that vaccination is necessary, others say it is poison. We continue to live through the economic debate. Some say tax the wealthy, others say leave them alone and their wealth will trickle down to everyone. We live in the great dishwashing debate. Is Dawn dishwashing soap really safe for ducks? We seem to have become a society where truth is hard to find. We have fake news and entertainment news and Fox News and very little commitment to seeking authentic truth. The thing about this is that everything we hear has an element of truth in it. something rings true for us. There's a half-truth buried inside of what we're hearing. This half-truth is then used by those who are wanting our attention. This, in fact, is a consistent story throughout Scripture. Remember Adam and Eve? Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden disobey God, and God asks them what they've done, and they tell a half-truth. Adam says it was Eve who persuaded him. Eve says it was the snake who persuaded her. There is an element of truth, but the whole truth is that they chose to disobey God. Cain kills Abel, and God asks Cain if he knows where his brother is. Cain says he's not his brother's keeper, which is a half-truth. He also knows what happened and covers up the whole truth. King David has an affair with his neighbor's wife, and he tries to cover up his actions with the half-truth that she's a widow because her husband died in battle. David does not admit to having had an affair with her before he had him killed. He covers up the whole truth with a half-truth. The half-truth is plausible. We almost get to believe it until it is tested and found out to be hollow. Because of this, many of us have become cynical and disbelieving. And the question of Pontius Pilate remains the question of the ages. What is truth? So is there a way of knowing the truth? And I'm saying yes, there is. And let me take us back to that text that I read earlier. John 1:14, the Word became flesh and made his home among us. We have seen his glory, glory like that of a Father's only Son, full of grace and truth. You see, this is our touchstone for those of us who follow the way of Jesus. Jesus is full of grace and truth. The life and the teaching of Jesus becomes our truthful guide. If we want to test the truthfulness of something, test it against the words and teachings of Jesus. And let me not be misunderstood. I'm not saying test it against the Bible. Anyone can find a text in the Bible and use it to support their own truth. The Bible alone is not enough to test the truth. Instead, we need to read the Bible through the life and teaching of Jesus. I am saying, immerse yourself in the teaching and example of Jesus as found in the gospel. And as we absorb the truth of Jesus, we discover a key to discerning truth. Remember when Jesus asked, the greatest commandment is love God and love your neighbor? I see Jesus giving us a way of testing truth. The test of truth, is this loving? Is this loving of God, and is this loving of our neighbor? We do have an answer for Pontius Pilate when he asks what is truth. Our answer is it loving. Any words, any rules, any attitude that is cruel and unloving is not the truth of Jesus. Put differently, if you want your words to be true, then speak only to express the love of Jesus. If you want rules for life that are true, then make sure they bring the love of Jesus into effect. If you want a truthful word, then let the love of Jesus be your guide. Anything else is untruthful. And so instead of cynically accepting a world full of untruths, let us show love and compassion and watch the power of God unfold. I'm inviting us to be part of a series over the next few weeks. For the next few weeks, I would want to speak about questioning truth. We will examine some of the half-truths of our faith. We're going to cover topics such as everything happens for a reason, God helps those who help themselves. God won't give you more than you can handle. Love the sinner, hate the sin. All of which have an element of truth while at the same time being profoundly untruthful. And as we tackle these topics, I'm hoping we will learn how to listen for the truth. As we do this, we might be able to listen to the other voices in our society and discern truth. And above all, I do want us to be reassured of the love that God has for all of us.
Thank you for listening to this message from First United Methodist Brookings. To get every message delivered to you, subscribe to this podcast for free and leave us a review wherever you get your podcasts. You can always find more information about our services and outreach on our website at brookingsmethodist.org and on our Facebook page at Brookings First United Methodist Church. On behalf of Pastor Pete and all of Brookings First United Methodist Church, thank you for listening. This podcast was produced by Sam Becker on behalf of First United Methodist Church in Brookings, South Dakota. Intro and outro music was performed by our praise team under CCLI license number 936719, Streaming Plus license number 21039161. Visit brookingsmethodist.org for more information.